My favourite musical memory with Rob. Well, it's a recurring musical memory, but every time we play I Want to Break Free, he looks at me for the harmony on the I've Fallen in Love part. So midway through the music playing and just before I have to sing the harmony, I always yell out, love, so Rob can harmonise my I've fallen in love. And then we get it, and it's lovely.
Favourite memory together, this one dates back quite a bit, but playing with Lord Bishop in our all-star lineup, with the Cloudmouth lads, Benny, myself and Lord Bishop, playing those songs with such a variety of talent on stage at the same time, at such a young age, to me is simply unforgettable. Favourite personal moment, a little off topic, but I think the moments that personally influenced me by having Rob around, other than the musical talent that he brings to a song, but more what he simply brings to the company. Things like pulling out a skateboard or a trumpet before a gig, rocking up with no shoes, blowing a leaf, playing my right-handed guitar upside down, or even what I think was a flute at Graceland. These things, that they bring culture and calmness to these moments for me personally. My favourite musical moment with Rob would be that look across the stage with a smile of appreciation of something that was incredibly small but worked well. For me, it would be when we discovered a cool harmony at the end of Stand By Me. That's something I'll always be looking for from now on at the end of that track.
As for favourite memories, I just think every memory with Rob has been phenomenal, but it was really lovely this past weekend. We played a gig together where we barely played a gig. It was one set at a wedding that was running really far behind, and we just got to sit and chat about life and babies and just be amazed at what has happened in the last few years. And it was just nice to sit and have a real big D&M with Rob, because we haven't had one in ages because of COVID. So yeah, my favourite personal memories with Rob always have to be our road trips to and from wedding gigs together. We always like to stop for a coffee and a pink donut on the servo, or Hungry Jack's veggie burgers, which kind of just became a tradition. Gonna miss you, Robbie. Godspeed, my friend, and hope we see you sometime soon. Meet up in Colombia, or if you visit us here again, or if we meet somewhere in this big old crazy world.
Favourite musical moments with Rob. One of my first ones was when we were playing a wedding together. It was a few years ago. Myself, Rob, Lou and Andy, and Rob started playing What's Up, and he started playing it as a shuffle, and that song's not a shuffle, but Rob didn't know what he was doing. And so Rob looks over at me knowingly and said, "Am I doing something wrong?" And I nodded, and he said, "Can you fix it?" And so through drumming, I had to fix what he was doing on guitar. Worked out well though, good gig. Another musical memory of Rob was we played this black tie party gig on the Bellarine Peninsula a few years ago, and this is just Rob and his insane musical ability. We've been playing this song for years called Flip Flop Fly. It's a 12-bar blues. Anyway, it usually starts with James on the guitar and Rob on the piano, starting together with the Johnny B. Good style intro. Anyway, we start doing the intro. Rob's hammering away on the piano. Next thing you know, James and I look over at him and then just look at each other in bewilderment as Rob is playing the piano with one hand and playing harmonica with the other one, just flawlessly. It's just unbelievable. We've had a lot of really great times just jamming in Rob's factory. Years ago, I remember just hanging out with Rob in the factory at the end of a rehearsal, something like that, and Rob was playing on the electric organ that he has up there. What he didn't realise was that it's got an input so you can plug a guitar amp into it. Anyway, I showed him this and he plugged it into his guitar amp and it sounded heavy as anything, like the Beast, Hammond B3 organ from Deep Purple. And anyway, so I jumped on the drums and Rob was on the organ and we had the most amazing jam. We must have been playing for half an hour, 45 minutes without stopping once. It was just incredible, and it's those sort of moments that aren't necessarily some big crazy fun gig that you just realise how much fun it is just jamming with such a good friend who's one hell of a musician. Final musical memory of Rob was that I need to mention because there's been bucket loads of them. The Mega Jam. Rob will know exactly what I'm talking about here. The Mega Jam. We had a whole bunch of musicians, we had amplifiers, we had 3 drum kits, jamming in the factory for just hours on end on a Friday night in about 2010 through 2011, and it was just an incredible night.
Every musical moment I have with Rob is magical, and the best is yet to come. We both play the right notes, and sometimes we play them at the same time on purpose. We did this heaps a few Gracelands ago. We'll do this again in Colombia. And I'll miss Rob, yeah, like the desert miss the rain.
Yeah, that sounds better like this.
My favourite musical moment with you, this would have to be on stage whenever we play Tightrope, because every single time we play it, you always start to slowly headbang at the start, and then by the end of it, we start to headbang, and then the headbang gets massive, and then we're all just headbanging, and then the crowd always goes nuts for you at the end because you're just ripping it on the guitar, and I just love playing that song with you every single time. I think my favourite personal moment would be when we went up to Nimbin together and we played at that town hall to a room filled with randoms, but the vibes were very high, and I remember thinking how lucky I was that you came up there with me because we had such a good time playing together. And you're always up for original gigs, and anytime we'd speak about songwriting together, it would always get me excited about writing again and why I love songwriting. And a best memory, I don't know if there's a best memory because we've had lots of really awesome memories, but one I did really enjoy was when we all went up to Tassie together for that one night, and I reckon we played one of our best wedding cover gigs, and the crowd was insane, and then we drank really nice wine, and then Ben had to drag our asses out of bed the next morning to be on the earliest flight possible, and just that photo of us the next day just sleeping on the flight and just looking like zombies is the best.
Another great memory, bit of a personal / musical one with Rob was recently we did a gig down in Gippsland, and I was talking to Rob about the wedding we had the night before, where the bride and groom entered the wedding to the Imperial March from Star Wars, and I was showing him in the car. I said, guess what they walked into last night, and put it on. And I really cranked it up on the big stereo in the car, big powerful music. And as it's getting really heavy, we happened to drive past the Hazelwood power stations with the big steam stacks with, steam covering the road. And it all looks like something out of Star Wars with all the big lights from the power station. And Rob and I just looked at each other just like, yeah, this is so cool. It was a good experience.
Still miss you, baby, and I don't want to miss a thing.
Another memory about my bandmates, and Rob is part of this. I was recently talking to Rob and Sarah about it, and we had a good laugh, is how each of my bandmates arrives to a gig. Everyone's got their process. So Rob will usually accidentally arrive way too early and then not get out of his car because he's playing trumpet or reading a book or something. And then when he does get out of his car, I'll be doing loads, carrying stuff, and he'll just be, hands-free, just chatting to me, walking around without realising that he could actually be being productive doing something. Andy's method is to arrive, not possibly be able to enter the venue without calling me. Sarah shows up and complains about how sweaty she is, which no one else has ever cared about, but Sarah always talks about that. Lou comes and apologises for whatever medical issue she's got going on that week, and not that I ever have cared or ever will care, because she just nails it every time, but she has to apologise for her medical situation, whatever that is. And James just shows up and gets there early and is helpful.